On Monday, for the first time in my lifetime, a Seattle Mariner has won the Home Run Derby. Welcome to the Dom Skiing Channel, your one-stop shop for the Mariners storylines on Seattle's minds. And today, something that has never before happened in my lifetime, as Cal Raleigh won the Home Run Derby in 2025, defeating Junior Caminero in the final round. And this was as crazy of a derby as you'll ever see, because Cal advancing to even past the pool play, which now, to start off, the home run derby this year works more like a golf tournament where you've got 8 guys, 4 of them make the cut into the semifinals. So all 8, they don't do the bracket now until the semifinals, but for the first round, it's just all 8 of them go. And first you had James Wood go, didn't do too bad, 16 homers, but his all fields approach it was so fun to watch. He's so athletic. He's one of my favorite players in the MLB to watch at the moment. But he also, his average distance, 435 is just crazy, but didn't hit enough. His 486-foot long homer, though, was, as soon as he hit it in the first round, was already longer than anything that we saw the past year in Texas. Average distance 435, absolutely amazing. James Wood, so much fun to watch, although he's just not built for this, because I was thinking maybe he comes out here and just tries to pull it the entire time. And you kind of saw him start to do that, but that all fields approach was showing too early in the round. And now you only have a 3-minute round and then a little bonus, and it goes by like that. So you really got to jump on it right away. Next, you had Brent Rooker go. Brent Rooker himself hit 17 homers, which came into play later. Wood was my dark horse pick, obviously Cal to win it, but Rooker was my 8th place, where I'm like, really, is Brent Rooker going to come out here and take these guys on and win this thing? He didn't. He had 17. Longest was 471. Average distance 428 feet. Again, he hits the ball hard too, but a righty, who just didn't. 106 average exit velocity, way up there too. But I don't think he had the stamina. And you see guys like Julio, Junior Caminero, so athletic, can just keep turning on him, and churn out these pitches quickly. I think those are the guys who are best at the Derby in this modern iteration. After Rooker, let's see, tested my memory a little bit. It went to... I'm having a hard time remembering. I think it was Caminero right after Rooker. No, Caminero was... Yeah, I think Caminero was pretty early. But anyway, Caminero, 21 homers in the first round. The highest bat speed in the MLB. And he's the guy who took that Julio approach, able to really turn on the pitches quick. Just keep funneling him. He also did a good job using the bonus and stuff. 442 average distance on his 21 homers in the first round. Hit 475. Average exit velocity at 107.5 was the highest that we'd seen so far at that point. Going through the other guys in the first round, you had Buxton come out and hit 20. He looked really good. Hottest hitter in the MLB that's not named Randy Arozarena. Average exit velocity 106 for him. 427 on the average distance. Longest was 466 on 20 total homers. It did end up getting into the next round, as did Caminero. Wood and Rooker both missed it, which we'll talk about in a second. But Jazz, undoubtedly, the disappointment of the night. Jazz Chisholm comes out, hits 3 homers in the home run derby only. Longest was 453, average exit velocity 105.7. He was hitting them hard, but he was hitting line drives. It's clear that he just wasn't, totally practiced for this thing. He wasn't totally ready, which you definitely, if you're a Yankees fan and a Jazz fan, you'd probably prefer. You want to see him do well in the home run derby, but in terms of his second half of the season, he's the type of guy who you could really see his swing maybe get messed up if he went too hard in the derby. So maybe that's what happened. Again, just outside inference, but looking at he's the guy who's athletic. He can turn on it. I just don't think he has the overall meat on his bones to just hit that sheer number of homers in that short a period of time. I think he's a guy who can come up and do it, in an at-bat more naturally than he can in a home run derby. On the other hand, O'Neal Cruz, the best first round of anybody. Even though Caminero also hit 21, Cruz just came out and hit one 513 feet. That's the furthest hit ball that we've seen since at least back in Coors Field when Juan Soto hit one over 500 feet there. But you can't even hit 513 foot homer in MLB The Show if you go try, barely. So, I mean, O'Neal Cruz is a complete. He is, the Cruz missile. He is just complete anomaly in terms of StatCast. Hit the hardest ball in the StatCast era in the 120s. It was like 124, 123, 124, just absolutely insane. And last night he hits 118 just in the first round. Average distance 447 feet, just absolutely insane. And this guy O'Neal Cruz was pulling him. It would look like, okay, this guy's built for the Derby. After the first round, he was kind of looked like the guy to beat. Then lastly, Matt Olson. I'm going to cover Cal last just because. So Matt Olson went, well, I'll give you guys the story. So, Raleigh comes up, hits 17 homers in the first round. He knows that he's going to need at least that many because Rooker is on 17. So he comes up, he knows the number that he has to get to. The other guys have kind of already said it, and only Matt Olson's going after him. He gets he only had 10 to 12 or 14 in the bonus, ends up getting 17 and tying Brent Rooker. We thought there was going to be a swing off, right? But, I was with my good friend Cole. We're watching this at a bar up in Woodinville. We're seeing this, and on the TV, it goes, and then we see that the next round is started right away, and we're like, what is going on? Caminero is hitting, and we're like, well, did Raleigh or Rooker, who made it? We missed on the TV. It was less than an inch that qualified Raleigh over Rooker into the next round from the pool to the semifinals. I think that's insanely controversial. I was giddy with excitement. As happy as I can be that we took out, an A's player, and get Raleigh, just the fact that Raleigh still had a chance, to make it to the next round after not having his best round that first round, the fact that he stayed alive, but the fact that it was less than an inch, it was 0.096 inches that they said Cal Raleigh won by. The fact that we can't even get the strike zone correct, Dallas Braden is correct about this, where he's out there saying, we can't even get the strike zone correct, but you're going to send somebody to the home run derby and or to the semifinals of the Derby by less than an inch on StatCast. That's pretty. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about Cal Raleigh getting qualified over Brent Rooker into the semifinals by less than an inch on StatCast distance. Because I personally, if it was the other way around and Rooker did that to Raleigh, I know Mariners Nation would be in an uproar today. So let me know what you guys think. Also, the fact that Matt Olson comes up after him when Raleigh and Rooker are tied, and then Matt Olson just barely misses and hits. It was 15. It looked like he was easily going to get to 16. Starts off super slow, then just starts rattling him off. Hits 10 in a minute. Really, really strong end to his first round, and then, he gets a few outs and he's on 15 homers. So we think that there's going to be a big swing off between Raleigh and Rooker. And then they said, oh no, Raleigh to the next round. He beat him by less than an inch on the furthest homer. That's the tiebreaker. It's insanely controversial. I don't think it should go without a little bit of controversy and some backlash. But there's another decision later that I applaud the MLB for just as much as, and I'm not going to be the one criticizing them when it does ultimately benefit the Mariners, because to have sports feel like they're rigged in favor of the, to have the MLB, people accusing the MLB of rigging in favor of the Mariners, just shows a course correction far beyond what we could have dreamed of in our wildest dreams 10, 15 years ago. So the fact that Raleigh makes it to the next round, is it fair? Not exactly. Does it feel great to get Rooker and Olson both out of the Derby? One of my most hated A's ever, and and my most hated A ever probably. Yeah, feels amazing to get those two out. and it feels amazing that we, just to know that we get to see one more round of Cal Raleigh, because he comes up, he talks to the umpire before the Derby. I don't know how many of y'all caught this. Talks to the umpire before the Derby. It takes a while before he starts, taking pitches, and he talked to him and he said, "Hey, I'm about to, take a break. I'm about to hit lefty. Take a break, come back and hit righty." And I knew that's what he said. So when he comes, starts out really slow, and then he switches, and then starts batting righty. I'm like, okay, we knew this was going to happen. And it looked like that messed him up for sure. I mean, Rutschman hit, I think, 20 from the left side, 7 from the right side 2 years ago. And for Cal, it just looked like it was too much going on. And if we're going to be honest, his dad was giving him some slightly inconsistent pitching. I don't want to rip Papa Raleigh. Obviously, they definitely have some chemistry. But compared to Julio taking pitches from Franmi Pena 3 years ago, then 2 years ago, both in the LA and Seattle derbies, that's the best derby pitching I've ever seen. So I am never going to say don't have your childhood best friend or your dad pitch to you in the derby. I think you 100% should do that. And I've seen both the best and the worst be from that ilk. But in this case, definitely it looked like the pitches were a little bit all over the place. I also said, like, maybe even Olsen and Raleigh should switch pitchers, because Olsen's guy was throwing him inside, which is where Cal needed them, whereas Cal's dad was kind of throwing him all over, but a little bit outside, which is where Olsen would have wanted them, because he has more length and he can reach those outside, where Cal was just uppercutting on them with his short limbs, short arms. That's like inside city. Anyway, so Cal makes it by an inch into the next round, and we're good. We get into the semifinals, Caminero versus Buxton. I would say this was the disappointing round of the night, because you've got 8 homers for Junior Caminero. He comes out and sets the pace. Then Buxton comes out and hits 7. Just barely doesn't get him. It's like if you're hitting 8 to 7 homers, I think in those semis, it's great for Caminero because he hit so many in the first round. Buxton obviously reached 20 as well. But get that a little bit shorter of a round going to the final, so that you're not completely gassed like our boy Julio was in 2022, or like Randy was against it was either Randy or Dolis, I can't remember, who went against Vladdy when it was here in Seattle, and they were gassed in the final round too. But we've seen the last 2, 3, 4 derbies be won by guys that kind of maybe don't have the best first or second round, but then they cruise into that final round with the least amount of fatigue. And because this is now kind of a sprint, the derby, it's a weird sport that we only play once a year. But I thought that Cal did an excellent job with the strategy, especially when it came to the swing-offs, because Caminero beats Buxton, so Caminero is the first half of the final. Nothing too impressive there. Caminero goes 460, Buxton only goes 456. Those two definitely look to be a little bit tired after that first round. Then Cal gets into the semis, and that's all we needed. Oh, he's still in? We got a chance. Then he goes out, and he sets the bar extremely high for O'Neal Cruz, hits 19 homers in the second round, average distance 430, 465 was his longest there. The average exit velocity at 104.8. That seemed strategic, because you don't need to hit him 106. It looked so much more fluid, and he was getting into that rhythm that Julio gets into, where he's just rattling off swings. And again, the fact that a catcher has finally been able to do this after the long history of the home run derby, this speaks everything to what Cal's doing for this position, because to be athletic enough to play catcher, have that big of a dumper, just straight up to have that much mass and be able to squat for 3 hours, 4 hours every day, and then also to have the athleticism to go and perform in a home run derby the way that only athletes like Julio Rodriguez and Junior Caminero can do. It's absolutely beyond any of the wildest blueprints of athleticism that you could set up for any athlete, let alone catcher. So Cal goes out and hits 19, and he puts the pressure on O'Neal Cruz, who could only hit 13 in the semifinals. You all watched it with me. I mean, I was just cheering my heart out. You know, O'Neal Cruz does put on arguably the show of the night, though. Caminero, with his bat speed and how fluid he was, I think was the biggest guy who announced himself to the world this Derby. But Cruz, 119 mile an hour hit ball in the semis, 498 foot homer in the semis, average exit velocity in the semis 112.2, average distance 453 feet. O'Neal Cruz is about as fun of a Derby competitor as you'll ever see, and I hope we see him again for years to come. Finally, you know, I do want to take a look at Caminero before we look at Cal's final round. You know, and you look at now, once Cal beats O'Neal Cruz after barely scraping by in the first round, then it feels like all the momentum's on his side. It's like, oh my gosh. I mean, you know, first round, not everything goes right, and you still make it. It feels like it was meant to be at that point. Then you come out and you smash O'Neal Cruz. You set a pace he cannot keep up with in the second round. Then you know that it's Junior Caminero and you, 21-year-old, who's hit more home runs than he is years old at this point in the MLB season. Absolutely crazy. He's actually like 22 and 9 days old. But then he comes into the final. He hits 15, and early on in that round, it looked like he was just stroking him. Like he just had a perfect, smooth swing. The bat speed's all there. He doesn't need to swing too hard. It was just like an easy iron swing. It was like your friend who's good at hitting the irons on the driving range, just whap, 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 just, you know, repetitive motion. And Caminero absolutely announced himself to the world. You know, put on a show. Maybe the best competitor through all three rounds, you could even argue. But you know, he sets the 15 in the final, and Cal knows that he can get that. So he comes out and, Cal actually came out first, and he hit 18. Then Caminero looked like he was going to catch up to him. So Cal comes out right. He hits 18. He has another excellent round after being red hot in the semis. Comes out, has an excellent final. He hits 464. Hardest one he hit was 110 miles an hour, 105.5 average, with 429 feet average distance. So it has a great final. But the big story of the night, I would argue, got to be the big story of the night, is that when Caminero comes up in the final, he just starts stroking him, and it looks like he's going to be unstoppable. He's going to reach that number, that 18 number that Cal set. But for the first time, I've never seen this in a home run derby. Caminero is just stroking him perfectly right over the left field wall, and then one of the kids in the outfield that's catching the fly balls leaps up above the left field wall and robs Junior Caminero of a home run in the derby. Now, Caminero starts, he keeps swinging for a minute after that, but then he takes his time out. And then all of his kind of support crew, Vladdy Jr., all the guys who are hanging out with him, they're all like, no, hey, that was a home run. There was a home run. They're making the motion for it. And then Caminero gets in on it because they're telling him about it so much. He gets distracted by it, and he's like, oh, yeah, give me the home run. And that, although one homer wasn't what he lost by, it was 15, he ultimately hit to Cal's 18. That completely changed the course of everything, killed his momentum. Without that, there was people where I was sitting in the bar saying, oh, he's got it, he's going to get Cal. But that changed the course of everything because it completely threw him off of his rhythm. He didn't hit that many after that, and he only ends up hitting 15, and Cal's the Derby champion. For the first time in my lifetime, a Seattle Mariner has won the home run derby, and Cal Raleigh adds to his growing list of historic accolades this 2025 season. This is just an absolute storybook season that's just continuing. The best catching season of all time as of right now. And unless he cools off incredibly hard in the second half, it will be the greatest catching season of all time. I mean, he only has 10 homers to go to have the most by a player that primarily plays catcher. So that's a give me. He's on pace for 64 homers. Who knows how many he'll end up with? But what we're seeing right now from Cal Raleigh, nobody could have predicted. Nobody could have foreseen this, and this is absolutely why we love baseball. This is the pinnacle of human performance right here. Cal Raleigh doing something that no human has ever done, catching, switch hitting, winning the home run derby, and being a Seattle Mariner. So, with that being said, I will see you guys later for the All-Star game today and give you a little prediction for the All-Star game right here. I figure, we'll do a starting pitcher strikeout score for each league. We'll pick one player on each league to hit a homer. We'll pick the score, and then we'll pick an MVP candidate for each league. So what we're going to go for here, the lineups we already know. We got American League, Gleyber Torres, Riley Green, Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh, Vlad batting cleanup, Vlad Guerrero, Ryan O'Hearn DHing the AL side, Junior Caminero playing third, Javi Baez in center, and then Jacob Wilson at short. The National League, you got Ohtani, Acuna, Marte, Freeman, Machado, Will Smith, Kyle Tucker, Lindor, and PCA. A lot of players off the bench on both teams. My one guy to hit a home run on each team, I'm going to take Randy on the AL side because he's red hot. He's destroying breaking balls. There's a good chance he sees one over the plate. And, he's got, 9 homers in his last 14, 15 games. So he's as hot as anybody, not named Byron Buxton. I'd say those are the top hottest 2 hitters in the league entering this game. And then on the NL side, I'm going to take who's somebody who I really think has that type of raw power, but is also going to get the opportunity. Just because it would be funny, I'm going to say that we see, Kyle Stowers after his 3-homer game. I can't do it, in good conscience. I don't think that's the best pick. I'm just going to take Manny because he's been really hot recently. Hopefully he gets 2 at-bats. So that's kind of why I'm going there. Kind of a cop-out. Okay, some dark horses. James Wood, not exactly a dark horse. We know his ability, but I just think he's the type of guy who can homer off of anybody at any time. And obviously I said Buxton, one of the other hottest hitters in the game. Moving on to the pitchers. Skubal, I'll say 2 strikeouts. Only going to go in I'll say 2 strikeouts apiece. Because why would I say any more, right? Then as far as the score, let's go. I'm going to say NBA, in the spirit of the NBA, I'm going to say it's going to be 12-9. And I'm going to predict an AL win because obviously Mariners channel, we got to root for our team. And we do have 4 Mariners on this team. And then MVP prediction. Who's going to win the MVP of the 2025 All-Star Game? I'm going to say that it's going to be Jacob Wilson because he's just going to make contact and somehow, off chance, he's going to get a run here or there early in the game. I feel like we've seen a lot of recent times where somebody scores a run early in the game or makes a play early in the game that takes the lead, and then they just give that guy the MVP, even though the score gets driven way up later in the game. So I'm going to say that, Jacob Wilson just gives somebody opportunity to make a play. On the NL side, if I had to pick one, let's go with Acuna because 5 tools, really good chance. I don't see Ohtani stealing in the game or anything. But that's going to do it. There's the predictions for the All-Star game. Let me know in the comments down below. Who do you guys think is going to win MVP? And I will see you guys tomorrow to recap the entire All-Star game, as well as Thursday, I want to give you guys a full recap of the first half of the season, preview the second half of the season, and kind of change a few things up. Because when are we gonna when are we gonna get a chance when we're in the swing of things and we got games every day again? Every single game counts the rest of the way, but want to make sure that we keep improving on this channel. So going to announce a few things this week. Stay tuned for that. Make sure you turn on the bell. Make sure you subscribe, turn on that bell so that you get notifications every time I upload. With that being said, I will see you guys tomorrow to recap the 2025 All-Star Game in Atlanta. Go M's and go Cal Raleigh.